Good evening, folks. Welcome to the Smartphone Photographers Google Community Hangout. This is our weekly, more or less, get-together that we like to call Point and Shoot. Ironically, something that most of us rarely do with our photos. Oh well, we'll work on the marketing later. Mr. Ant Pruitt is solving a technical glitch, and I am Joey Kelley up here in great state of Maine, where for some reason, even though it's almost November, we are getting 60-degree temperatures and rain. So don't ask me to explain that. Joining me tonight, Ant, who will be introducing himself in just a moment. Deborah's here, Mike King, and Mike Sweeney. So why don't we go from my left to right, and Deborah, introduce yourself to the group if you would.
Uh-oh.
Did we lose her?
Deborah didn't hear you, I guess.
Oh, I didn't hear.
Oh, this is going to be a wild one. This is going to be a wild one. Yep, here's the interesting start of the show, folks.
Ironically, that's not the first woman that hasn't been able to hear me. That works on a lot of levels. All right, Deborah, can you hear me now at the risk of sounding like a Verizon commercial?
I didn't hear you call my name, so I was like, "Who? What is he?" Because the order on the, that where you look at is not the same order that you see. So
yeah,
I don't know who's on your left.
All right, so Deborah, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself late.
Hi, I'm Deborah.
Uh-oh. How you doing, Deborah? How you doing, Deborah? It's good to see you. It's been a long time. You've been still chasing down networks? Yeah,
but usually I'm like at dance class or drum class or something. Oh.
In other words, life happens.
My daughter with my son.
Tell you, my downstairs tenants are darn glad I don't go to a drum class. That would be horrible for them.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's good to see you, Deborah. It's been a little while. Let me see who else is in here.
No.
Mr. Michael King down in Tejas. How you doing, man?
Doing great. Of course, you knew how our weather was last weekend. And
yeah, I don't appreciate that Texas rain that I had last week.
Oh, it got worse.
Yeah, I know, just as I was leaving, fortunately.
And it's getting bad again. Yeah, we're doing fine. Today, after all that rain from Patricia, or what was left of Patricia, wish you could have stayed in Mexico, our weather's been nice. We've had high just of 70. Now it's already back down in the middle 60s. We're supposed to be in the 50s tonight. But
anyone for a round of Stevie Ray Vaughan karaoke?
And then Friday night, Saturday, more flooding rains.
It's flooding down in Texas. Oh, all the telephone lines are down.
Please shoot me now. Please kill me.
Yes, we pay him extra for that, folks.
Oh my gosh. Next up, anyway, it's good to see you, Mr. King, as always. Next up, my man over in California, Mr. Michael Sweeney. What's happening?
Yeah, we're doing well. It's about 75 and dark.
Yeah. West Coast man is finally getting dark over there.
It's dark. But we did have sun today.
Yeah, shut up.
Come on, Sweeney. Am I the only one wearing the Hawaiian?
You always have sun.
Hey, Sweeney, are you not wearing a Hawaiian shirt and I am?
Wait a minute.
My man, Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash.
Oh.
Okay. You get a pass, sir. You get a pass. Well played, sir. Well played. Hope you're doing all right.
He's just trying to cash in on his T-shirt.
Oh, God. And there's the rim shot.
Yeah, I'm just spreading a little cash around.
All right. And one more time, Mr. Joey Kelley. How you doing, bro?
I am doing well tonight. Tonight's hangout brought to you by Water and Candy Corn in honor of...
Oh, gosh.
Thank you for the canned laughter. Well. In honor of the impending Halloween holiday. I'll tell you, I am really looking forward to talking about this challenge because I think it's one of our better ones.
All right. Okay, and lastly, myself, I am Aunt Pruitt since I missed the opening because I didn't have all of my gear over here. Sorry about that. But I'm Aunt Pruitt, and as Mr. Kelley was saying, this is the smartphone photographers community and our weekly hangout on there that we like to call Point and Shoot. We get together every week to talk about the different tips and tricks that can help make you a better smartphone photographer. We also share little challenges that we do within the community and other little tidbits that we come across, whether it's a interesting article, app updates, or let me show you how I did so and so, stuff like that. And we have a lot of fun in here. It's pretty loose conversation that we have. It's not all huffy and stuffy. We have a good time here. So hopefully the folks that are watching will enjoy it and check us out. So anyway, first and foremost, sorry for missing last week. I was traveling, as Mr. King has mentioned. I was down at the Big Android Barbecue in Texas, and I want to give the folks at IDEA, IDEAA, a shout out and tell them thank you once again for having me down there and making me feel like a VIP. It was greatly appreciated. But while I was out, we still had our challenge going on, and it was called Before and After. It was supposed to have been proposed by another community member, but I didn't hear from them until it was too late, so I just decided to go along with one that we talked about off air. And Mr. Kelley brought it up in conversation one time. He said we should show some before and afters when we're doing some of these shots because it gives us some context. Well, this was I thought this was going to be a pretty good challenge. What we laid out was before and after, and I said to interpret that any way you wish. If you want to do one shot that's unprocessed and then another shot that is processed, that's before and after, just as long as you specify. If there's another story behind the shot, whatever, just be sure to specify what you were trying to convey with your photo. And I want to stress that because while I was at the Big Android Barbecue, I met one of our community members down there. His name is Michael Rutherford, and it was really nice to talk to him because he talked about how much he enjoys being in the community and learning about the different ways that people are shooting their photos. But then he said, man, I wish people would tell us more. I wish people would tell us how they did this and how they thought about doing it this way and that way. And I'm like, wow, you're preaching to the choir. We say that every week. I try to put that in every one of the challenges. Please be as descriptive as possible because it really does help the other community members in there, and if you want me to be selfish, it really does help me when I know what you guys are doing because I like to steal y'all's little tips and tricks. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Let me pull up the photos here and do a screen share.
While you're doing that, real quick,
yeah, go ahead.
I love this type of challenge because I think too many of us forget every time we take a photograph that it is a moment in time that will never be repeated. And it's been said that time is something that we invented, and I guess in a literal sense that's true, but in a spiritual sense, time only moves in one direction until you start involving a DeLorean and some old guy with crazy hair. And guess what I was doing last week. Anyway, so the thing that I love about this challenge is that there's the literal before and after an event, before and after an edit, before and after. There's multiple ways you can interpret this, and I love how that gives you the space to do something that you want with it. But one of the things that I want everyone that watches this and participated, even if you didn't, if you're just a community member, or even if you're watching this afterwards, one thing I want you to take away with you is that a moment in time that you photograph, you may not recognize the significance of that moment until afterwards.
Yep.
And the example that I use of that specifically, and I don't have a link to it, I'd have to dig around for it, sorry, Aunt, but there was a gentleman that took a picture of a perfectly ordinary day in September of 2001, a perfectly ordinary day with a perfectly ordinary subject. And what it was on the morning of September 11th, 2001. And in the background, you can see the Twin Towers about 2 hours before the first plane hit.
Mm.
Totally insignificant picture, at least he thought.
Right.
The next day, that thought was replaced with another one as to how significant that is.
Yep.
On a personal level, I know a guy that was on a trip, multi-day trip through Pennsylvania, stopped into this little town, randomly just stops and take a picture of an old wooden train station. Next 3 days later, he's driving back through the same town. It burned down.
Mm.
You don't know
You don't
what
know.
your photo is going to capture, either in the foreground or in the background, that you may later be very glad that you had. So that's
true.
one of those things, like I try to emphasize that every photo is a moment in time, and every moment in time might be more significant later than it is right now.
Yeah.
So there's your takeaway.
Yeah.
Joey, you want to?
Well said, bro. That's a very good point, Joey, and I appreciate you bringing that to light. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these shots here. We got about 20 some odd photos that were submitted. And again, I mentioned it as, show one and another, or if it's a series of shots, put it out there to where we can clearly get what was going on with your before and your after. So let's see what we got here. I want to start with somebody sitting right here in the hangout.
Hi.
Joey, there's some days, man, I'm like, what is this dude thinking with this shots? Because you have a certain way of doing things as far as your style.
Yeah.
And you've been very clear about it on previous hangouts. You're like, you know what? I don't like how that works that way. I'd rather do it this way.
Yeah. And Sweeney's always calling me ignorant because
and then the guy in California yells
All right,
at you, But this particular shot here, I totally dig it, because it definitely shows a work in progress and then a finished product. All the way down to boom, I turned the light on. Yes, it does work. I didn't just put something together. I put something together that works. What did you use here? Is a Nexus 6? Yep, stock camera, post-processing done in GIMP on a PC. Yes, he's another man that uses a GIMP editor. That's what's up, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But anything I would have done differently with this shot, if you could have kept the same aspect as you have on the left with this one on the right, I think that would have been a little bit better. But at the same time, you would have lost the globe here.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, man, I dig this shot. Before, after, well done.
Well, just so you know what this was, let me explain the object first before you explain the photos, and before Sweeney tells me that I did everything wrong possible.
No. Let's not do that. Let's not do that, because I want to know if everybody else sees what you were trying to convey. So
okay, that's a good idea. All right,
with before and after.
I'll just shut up and listen, and I'll go get the lamp so you can see it.
All right. So we're going to start with the ladies first, this time anyway. Ms. Deborah.
Yes.
All right. What are your thoughts on this shot? Or group of shots?
She's speechless.
Oh boy.
A little cluttered for me.
A little cluttered? Okay.
Cluttered. The shot themselves separately and look, it's too much going on, and it's hard to focus.
Gotcha.
And then it really, with the car in the background for the after, it was, and the tools and stuff, it was, I don't know, it's, for me, it's not, it could be better.
Gotcha. Well said,
Like,
ma'am.
Why is
Well
she back?
said.
No.
Oh, no. You did not hear that one bit. We're glad you're in here. Love it.
Why is she
Well
back?
said. All right, Mr. King, your thoughts?
I love it. It shows work in progress, getting your hands dirty, taking something apart, and turning it from one thing into something totally different.
Yep.
I love this.
Anything you would have tried to do differently?
If anything, I would have tried to keep the same perspective. Where it's way the muffler's pointing and all that, the same height and everything. I would have tried to done that, but I love it, and I love seeing all the tools out there, what it was used to make all this.
Mm-hmm. All right, Mr. Sweeney.
Well, unlike Big D, I happen to like it. But I like it for a very specific reason, and this is what I consider to be a documentarian photograph. It is a snapshot of real life that's really happening in the real world. It's not art.
Mm-hmm.
It is a capture, a slice of time in somebody's life. That's why I like it.
I'm sorry for laughing on camera, but the little chat has Joey just bawling out over there. Oh my God, write it down. Sweeney likes it. That's awesome.
I think it's because I'm here. And to say now he's got a like.
Oh man, Deborah, I mean, you are breaking up bad.
Oh, bless her heart.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Joey, what do you got there? Tell us a little bit about it.
Here it is. This is the lamp in question. It is very heavy.
Yes.
Size.
That's outstanding.
This is a 1950s Briggs & Stratton engine block that did not have all of the parts needed to make it a functioning engine again. It was headed for the scrap pile, and I grabbed it off my dad's parts bin, and it spent about 6 months in a parts cleaning tank getting cleaned off, then was sandblasted, then was painted, and then I applied a bracket and a bolt that I also found in the parts bin to hold up the lamp parts, and got stuck for about 3 days on what to use for a shade, and finally hit on a reproduction glass mason jar.
Yeah, moonshine.
And
that's awesome, dude.
And this is a reproduction 1915 Perfection ball mason jar in green, being used over a 60-watt LED bulb. And this is one of the 3 examples I have of my found art. The other 2 being a water fountain built out of a satellite dish and a coffee table that I built out of a server rack door and 2 computer towers.
I do remember seeing your satellite dish art.
Yeah, so this is, and it does work. Obviously, you've seen the picture. This sits on my bedstand, and it's my table lamp in the office. I wanted something unique. I wanted something that no one else had, and as you can see, it's unique, and nobody else has one.
Of course, of course. All right. Well, let's take a look at a few more shots here. Let's pick on my man Chris Seam. He's got 2 that I liked, but which one do I go with? I'll go with this one. We'll go with this one. All right, Chris Seam. I believe he's up in the Spokane, Washington area, using the Samsung Galaxy S6, Snapseed, and PhotoGrid to put these 2 together. All right, moment in time right here. A new moment in time right here, before and after. The story that I get out of it is he cleaned up. He got the rate, put in work, but that's about it. But what I do like about it is, as Joey was saying in the pre-show, is this is something that any and everybody can relate to this time of year. The fall comes along and you get that one extra chore, that one extra chore in your day-to-day life, which is going out and raking dadgum leaves. But
that doesn't exist here.
Oh, wait a minute.
That's right.
Almost everybody.
Right. See, they have plastic plants over there.
The plastic plants are recycled from parts of used Toyota Priuses.
This is true. This is true.
And what they do, they just pull up their tree for what time of year it is, and put in another one, and it's.
No. Use environmental friendly paint and paint them colors so they actually.
Yeah.
And then they put a mini cell phone tower in it and power it with a solar cell so that they can be eco-friendly.
Dadgum brilliant, I tell you. But okay, anybody other than California, this is a day in the life.
Stuff you keep talking about, yeah.
I like what he did here, and it looks like he tried to keep everything from, fairly identical between the 2 shots. So I give him credit for that. I can't really change anything on this. Well, hold on, let me zoom in a little bit. You gonna let me zoom in? You're not going to let me zoom in. You stink. Okay. Personally, I would have tried to, I guess it's the highlights. I want to turn the highlights down just a touch up here. And maybe that would give me a little more detail. What do you guys think?
Contrast. Color and contrast.
Contrast. Punch up the color. It's fall.
Okay.
Right. Color and contrast. That would have done a lot of big. It's a good shot, but if you would have punched up the contrast some and punched up the color,
Yeah.
and maybe the clarity, it would have really made a very good shot.
Because it's a little flat right now, right? Is that what you guys see? Okay.
Yes.
What are your thoughts, Mr. Deborah? Uh-oh.
I don't really have any. I don't know. It's okay.
What would you have done differently? Because I know you got an opinion about it.
I definitely would have done the color. I mean, other than what you guys have already said. I mean,
Okay.
definitely the color. I tend to adjust the color most times.
Yeah.
And the contrast.
I was wishing I could zoom in on this. a
Without the
little
leaves. Without the leaves on the ground, though, it's almost makes the shot kind of dull.
more. Uh-huh. No texture, right?
Yep.
All the more reason that
I mean,
the
there
color
is-
should be punched.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Joey, your thoughts?
The only thought I have is a technical suggestion that it might have been cooler to have a tripod adapter for your smartphone, Chris, and to have stuck it on a tripod, taken the first shot, gone and done the leaf cleanup, and come back and hit it again. Maybe that might not have been practical, or you may not have a tripod adapter, or maybe you just didn't feel like it was necessary, because the shots are almost identical, but not quite, and I think that detracts from it a little bit. If you were to put them back to back and flip between them, you probably wouldn't notice. But where they're stacked on top of each other, the slight differences kind of jump out at me. But I do agree with the contrast and the color suggestion, particularly the color suggestion.
All right. Sweeney?
I said my piece. Color and contrast.
Oh, yeah, you did. Duh. Okay. Next.
You know, the one other thing would be to crank the clarity on the bottom shot to kind of bring up the texture of the clean area.
Down here.
Yeah.
I would have brought the clarity up on both of them.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't hurt.
All right. But see, he's in Snapseed.
Yeah, Snapseed clarity works well.
Or the structure.
The structure, that's what I'm thinking of. Sorry.
Structure. Blah, blah. I can't talk.
Get it out there, King. Get it out. All right, let's move on. I want to look at his other one because it just stuck out in my mind because it's so daggum colorful. I wish it was a little sharper because it almost looks like he moved a little bit, or maybe that's just haze on it. But it looks like it could be.
Some blur.
Say it again.
He might have applied some blur to it.
But I wish this was a sharper image on it. But I like the idea of this is what I got. This is my first product, and this is my end product before and after. But the color on it is very pretty, just sharpened up.
Maybe that's what it was.
Say it again.
Ma'am?
HDR.
Maybe.
Because you know how sometimes if you're not completely still,
Yeah.
you get that ghost.
Yeah. That makes sense too. But
I was going to say, I have to disagree with you, Sweeney. This doesn't look like artificial blur to me in the filter. It looks like natural blur.
It looks like I tapped the screen and moved just that smidget, right?
If he did an HDR, he could have just had a little muscle twitch just enough, and boom. There's the blur.
All right.
Or he intentionally did it. I don't know.
And this is again with his S6.
Well,
And,
so here's the thing. Chris is usually better about that sort of thing.
Carry on.
So Chris, why don't you answer up and tell us if you applied some blur or if you just kind of had a little too much caffeine that day?
Or
Right.
both.
Or not enough.
Or whiskey.
Whiskey. My vote's for whiskey.
What was that?
Dan's
None of
votes
that
were
whiskey?
for whiskey.
She said her vote's for whiskey. I'm with Deborah.
Yeah, as soon as we get out of here, I'm going to have some bourbon.
Oh man. All right, so that's enough of Christine there. Okay.
Oh, but one little quick thing on that one. He gets the props for the second most creatively edited double exposure.
Say that one more time.
He gets the second best editing for putting the two pictures together.
But that's not a double exposure. That's a picture within.
I'm
a
sorry. I didn't mean to say double exposure. That was
Okay.
a
Picture within a picture.
Okay. Don't confuse us, Joey. Jeez.
sorry, Anthony.
It's easy to confuse Mr. Ant at times.
Now one of the first shots we got, and probably the
I love
best
this one.
job of editing, was by Edwin.
Yeah, that's what we're taking a look at now. Mr. Edwin Boatswain over in the UK. This one, it really got my attention because it looks like these guys are chasing this guy, you know. And I know these are two different shots. He's got he's got it cropped at that whole diagonal and whatnot, but it looks like these guys are on the upper portion of a track, and they're trying to loop around to get down to this guy.
Velodrome.
Say it again.
It's a velodrome or something like that that they do for
bicycle racing.
Bicycle racing.
Oh, okay. That's something I didn't know.
You can see that. You see that all the time, especially in the Olympics and in Europe. That is next to soccer and
It's a
rugby
Eurovision.
and cricket. That's a big sport in the Europe.
Now, there is one thing I didn't quite understand on this shot, and I don't know if you guys can see it. Maybe the zoom will help. But right here, what in the world is that? You guys have any idea?
Can you zoom in a little bit?
Zoom, because I can't see.
Motion blur to me.
It looks like motion blur, Rick, main thing.
Well, if you think it's motion blur, then why doesn't necessarily blur the other folks the same way? You know.
He may have been panning,
No.
and that may be something on the wall behind them.
Right.
I've actually seen this.
What do you think
The
it
bicyclist
is?
has got something that's reflective, and as she passed the plane of the film, you saw the exposure of the reflection.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
It'd be like having a brake light on.
So I was gonna say just like a light
You
bulb.
got that reflecting
going by.
light coming back. It's really bright, and so it shows up.
Okay. But that got my attention. I didn't quite know what to think of that.
Pretty cool effect.
What came to my mind was
great
just
picture.
what came to my mind was like the long exposure shots that you see with cars going down the street.
Yep.
But then I was like, why don't I see it on these other folks? So I just thought it was a little odd. It doesn't detract from it if you ask me, but I just thought it was a little odd at any time.
Sweeney's right. It looked like the helmet or something. And there was a light right there, and he was reflecting from it, and everybody else has already passed when he took the picture. But yeah, I like that. I really like the motion blur he used in here.
He calls it the exhilaration and the come down. All right, and he basically combined two photos. I think he uses a 1+. Yep, 1+1 with no edits other than the collage. Very good, sir. Good.
And I like the way he put the collage together. I mean, everybody else, myself included, with the exception of that one other shot that I mentioned specifically, pretty much did either a side-by-side, left-right, or an up-down, straight across.
Yeah.
This is the only one that's combined, and if anything, the angle of the joint, if you will, between the two photos adds to the feeling of speed on the top one and just enhances that effect to me.
I think it definitely makes it look more like this is supposed to loop around because of that angle.
Yeah, I think it does too. But yeah, I honestly, the only thing that I would have done differently on this one was probably not tried to shoot it with my smartphone because of the motion blur. Just because of the exposure time that would have been required to get enough light into the sensor. This would have been a situation where I personally would have left the smartphone at home and brought out my SLR for that reason. because anytime you start getting outside of a tolerance of daylight, you tend to have a problem with blur on a small censored camera like this.
But then it wouldn't fit for this challenge then, huh?
That's true.
Duh. Your thoughts, Miss Deborah?
Yeah, I really like it. I do wish that one rider in the middle that looks to be the most in focus was actually really in focus.
Ooh. Been an interesting dynamic.
I think there's actually two
I
there,
also
right
like
side
it.
by side.
Like front and center there. This particular rider here. Right, Deborah?
Yes.
That would have been an interesting dynamic.
Oh yeah.
All right. Your thoughts, Sweeney?
I like this shot. I like it a lot. And unlike Deborah, I happen to like the bicyclist in the lower third that anchors the image, because you can see the spokes clearly, you see the solid wheel in the rear, and you see the rider kind of outlined.
Yes.
So, yeah, for me, the image just works really well.
You know, but
I also like the negative space at the top of the photograph. It makes like an oval.
yeah,
You see that?
yep. Again, makes it look like they're going around it.
Well, I think the hardest thing to do in any still image is to convey motion, because how do you make something look like it's moving in a stationary image? It's like trying to paint movement. It doesn't work well because the medium does not imply movement. So to have everything on the top blurred gives me the sense of motion, and have everything on the bottom fixed and focused gives me the sense of a true contrast of before and after. And that, I think, no offense to your comment, Deborah, because you're quite right, it wouldn't hurt anything to have that one person in focus. But I think that the effect is what it is, and I think it's extremely well done.
Yeah, see, that totally changes that shot. If you lost that upper piece there. Very well done, Mr. Boatswain. All right. We'll look at one more before we take a look at the winning photo here. Where did it go? Where'd it go? Oh, here we go. This is from one of our newer members. Whoops. Go back. This is the before. I've always thought shots of eyeballs were pretty cool, because sometimes anyway, you get to see a lot of different detail, and I've always been fascinated with the human body in general, and being able to see some people that photograph eyeballs, seeing the different eyelashes, the different folds of the eyelid, and any of the little excuse me, folds around their eye or orbital or what have you, down to the daggum eyebrows. I've always just liked that detail. But sometimes, they don't always work out this way, and you have to pull out that editor and, bump the contrast up a little bit to try to bring some of this stuff out. But this is his before shot using his SGS6, Galaxy S6. And this is by Jose, oh crap, how can I pronounce this? Jose
Magalhaes?
Magalhaes. Yeah, that's, hey, there you go. Say it again.
Magalhaes?
Jose Magalhaes.
I don't know if that's right.
If we butchered your name, sir, if we butchered your name, we apologize, sir. But I like what you got going here as the before and then the after. And again, I get back to how this trips my trigger as far as it being a human body, and how I always like to dig into the details of it. The first thing I looked at was the pupil. Bright light, no light. Pupil definitely is dilated here. And then it goes down to constriction. It's a little blown out over here on this left-hand side. I probably would have tried to get rid of that left side, because this doesn't add anything to that shot. I mean, I can tell that there's light in the shot just from looking at the lower part of the eye here. I don't think this is necessary. But I like their idea. I like the thought that they're thinking. Okay, let me add light to it and show an after effect of what happens when you add light to someone's vision. But
I have to disagree, Ant.
okay, go ahead. Let me hear it.
Without getting fanciful and really tricky with your editor and enhancing and dampening different regions of the image, in a situation like this, the before photo is a tiny bit blurry and suffering from a lack of light, and the after is sharply in focus, snapped, and suffering from an overabundance of light. I like that contrast.
Okay.
Because it's truly before and after in terms of the amount of light that's been introduced, and you can visually see it. I think if you were to put those two in a single image side by side, the contrast between the two would look a lot cooler. But I do also like how he's taken a fair amount of pain to get the eye in the exact same spot in the frame. It's a little bit off vertically, but it's just about right horizontally, and you can fix the vertically by cropping it. And I think if you put them side by side, cropped them together, the hot and cold, if you will, temperature of both the photos would contrast very nicely.
I will say, Joey, I respect your disagreement. I don't agree to you, but I respect what you're saying there. That it does make sense.
Well, just because you're wrong doesn't mean I don't respect you.
I just think that's too much right there. I just don't think that much bright is needed. If it makes me think of our high key challenge. But this wouldn't necessarily be high key, would it?
Could be.
So, so that's what I was like. Maybe this is just a blowout, and it's just not necessary. What are your thoughts, Deborah?
I actually like this image. I just wish, I don't mind that left side being blown out, but I wish I could see all of the eyelashes. Then I'd be a little bit happier.
Okay.
On this one, the background on the left is a little distracting to me, and I know sometimes people in the eyeball to figure out what it is that I'm looking at, and it's kind of just because I don't know if that was intentional or not, but I overall like the idea.
Yeah, I can say that I've been guilty of trying to figure out the reflection in someone's eyeball a time or two. But that's I don't know, maybe that's just some of the fun I have with it. I don't know, but I love the shots of someone's eye. I don't know, I'm not sure why, but I always have. What are your thoughts, Mr. King?
Go back to the other one, if you would, please.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with everything you say about the blowout. It's just a little the blowout at one side is just too much, but you almost have to see all the eyelashes and then to see everything in the iris and the pupil and all that. The other one, it's a neat shot, but if you just would have cut down some of and on that one, I like it, but again, it's a little too dark too. You can see his reflection. That must be his.
Looks like his phone.
I can see. Well, it looks like him taking a shot. I don't think it's him. I think it's her, or his significant other. And you see his picture because if you look at the reflection, it looks like him holding up the phone. You can see the phone in the pupil.
Yeah.
But when you did that, do that again, please.
All right. Drag that back over there.
If you kind of move over a little bit, kind of cut right there, you can still have the eyebrow and the eyelid. That makes it an even more interesting shot, I think.
Yeah, I agree with Deborah there, where it takes the background out. It's not as distracting.
Right.
Or I would have just blackened it. so it was all black.
That would have been
Okay.
work too. But yeah, if you would that by editing it like that, and that one again, that helps. If they would have cut that down a little bit, but I think it would look better if the camera came up so you still see the exact same position of the eyebrow and everything.
Yeah, you can't zoom. Can't zoom. I like this shot though. Your thoughts, Sweeney. What, my phone's not on. My phone's not on silent. Sorry.
I thought it's almost sound like we got a message.
Honestly, I don't care for either one.
Blasphemous. Why so, sir? What don't you like?
Well,
Thing.
this one is got too many technical faults that just kind of drive me batty.
As in?
Too much blur. Nothing's really in focus.
Okay.
And the other one, the blowout on the left-hand side drives me nuts.
So you didn't like that blowout either.
Nah, I really didn't.
Okay.
Sweeney, it's no longer a drive. It's a
What's
short
that?
putt. Driving you nuts. It's no longer a drive. It's a short putt.
It's a very short drive, huh?
No, I get it. Well played.
It's more nuts than normal.
Congratulations, we have now descended into golf.
So in short, Mr. Sweeney, for you, going back to the first one here, definitely put it more in focus because it's a little too blurred.
If they had gotten the eye itself along with the eyelashes in focus,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I've been much more sympathetic to the image.
Okay.
That's the only thing. No, I didn't realize how. Now this one's in perfect focus, but it's just the blowout is just so bad.
But then we also have to consider, like what Mr. Kelley was saying earlier, the light probably made a huge difference with that.
Oh, I'm sure it did.
But you can still probably use contrast and stuff, and you can kind of filter it a little bit to still get everything you want without with killing some of the blowout.
Fake it as best you can, right?
Well, no matter what you do it, no matter how you feel about this shot, the eyes have it.
Oh gosh. Anyway, back to you, Sweeney. Carry on, Sweeney.
What's that?
I said carry on.
Something that kind of floats through my head when I see this shot is I might have taken it one of two ways. I might have played with the shot to get the iris to expand really large and then contract for a before and after, or I might have done the eye plain, no makeup, and then just really gone over the top with makeup.
With makeup. Okay.
You want something really dramatic, and the honest truth here is I look at these two shots and I really don't see what the story is.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'm just being dense tonight. Need more beer.
Well, we can fix that. Beardless man. All right, so let's take a look at our winning photo here. And it was definitely a clear cut. This one comes from good old Annette Holland.
I love that.
She uses an LG G4. And before coffee, after coffee, but I had to give her a little bit of ribbing here, So, what does it say? Seriously, what's that? SOOC and collage? What is that? Anybody know what that is? Yeah? No?
No.
Hang on.
Okay. Anyway, she used this and collage and Pixlr with
Wait,
the text overlay.
Is that SOOC?
Looks like SOOC.
Yeah, straight out of camera.
Oh, straight out of camera. Oh, okay. All right. See, I don't know all of these cool lingo stuff you guys know. I mean,
Lingo? Oh, come on. You've heard me say this before.
you got me with BRB. That's pushing it there.
LOL?
Oh, and I do know LOL. Yeah, I just learned that tonight at about 9:23.
And
I'm
and of course,
hoping
there's the
you know-
all-time favorite, W.
I'm really hoping you
From
know
TF.
IMHO.
No, IMO.
In my humble opinion.
No, you're half O.
No.
Bro, what? No.
Anyway, this
He's at
one-
half O.
crap. I didn't mean to click on it. But this is as she says, before coffee, and if you guys know Annette well, she is a coffee nut. I mean, it's pretty scary how snobby she is about her coffee, and I just sort of laughed at her because she was at the Big Android barbecue as well, and I was able to hang out with her because we were both working with Idea, and we had a sponsor there called Jolly Roger Coffee, and
Nice.
and so they had their different blends there, and Annette, she could just rip through them and let you know what's what and what you should taste, and yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, she is a coffee snob, but I like this because this is something that a lot of
Coffee
people can
aficionado.
relate to. Oh yeah, aficionado. That's the nice way to say it.
Yeah. Snob was more accurate.
Yeah. But
Well, she lives here in Houston, and I don't want to run into her.
Yeah, no, you don't. But I like that she put something up again that most people can relate to, especially with the adults anyway, with how you feel before you get your
My
coffee
kids.
and how you feel after the coffee. I can't say I would have done anything differently with this. I love the way this one, the after shot is lit, and the clarity on it. This one looks a little blurry, but then again, it's before she's been
before
caffeinated, so well freaking
You
done.
got that shake going on, yeah.
Yeah, well freaking done. What are your thoughts, Deborah?
Yeah, fine.
Wow.
I'm a coffee snob too, by the way.
Anything you'd have done differently?
She should have had her coffee cup and the kind of coffee she was drinking. No,
That
just
would have
kidding.
worked, too.
Ah, nice
you go.
touch. Very nice touch. Yeah, good call.
Especially she is a coffee aficionado. She should have had her cup with her.
Had a mug right there. Yeah.
Or
good call.
have the can that she...
Can? Seriously?
Can?
Seriously, can?
Starbucks double shot.
Right.
Jeez. What are your thoughts, Mr. Kelley?
All right. First of all, let me tell you what I like.
Uh-oh.
She used a Star Wars font.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I like that. That's cool. I like that she wasn't afraid to use Star Wars font in purple too.
Yeah.
You're
She is-
stretching, dude.
She is another nerd girl here other than Deborah.
Well, I like that. So, geek props. It would have been better if you'd used the original series Star Trek font, but
Ooh,
You know,
No.
I digress.
Those might be fighting words to her, dude. I'm gonna let you
No.
figure that out with her off air.
Hey, Michael, the best font for this would have been Blade Runner.
Oh my God! Now the geek wars have started.
Well, I will say this. Look at it this way. I can kill you from a distance with a phaser. You got to get up close and personal with a lightsaber, which is a more effective weapon.
But
Think
anyway,
about
we're talking about
too.
photos.
Moving on. Anyway, so this week in geek, here's what I don't like about the photo, and it has nothing to do with the coffee. It has everything to do with the fact that every single model shot you ever see of a hair care product, a skin care product, a weight loss product, it does not matter. Oh God, King got out his lightsaber. Anyway, they do this same thing. They take the first shot with no makeup, poorly lit, and off-centered, blurred, horrible clothing, and they take the second shot properly lit, with makeup maybe or not, with hair may or may not be properly done, in nice clothes, in a studio, with a professional photographer, and they use the before picture from some snapshot with a 110 Kodak camera from 1982. And they say, this is what our product does. And it's like, no, this is what a good photographer can do with a mild change in the person. And That's what I don't like, is that this almost feels like a photo cliche to me because of that. It has not take away anything.
Oh, cliche. That's what I was waiting on.
Yeah. It feels to me almost like a photo cliche because I've seen it and I've seen it and I've seen it and I've seen it, and I feel that it misrepresents, what's going on here, because quite frankly, I think Annette probably looks just as good before and after her coffee, but maybe before and after her breakfast, shower, hair done, makeup applied, blah, 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 that might make a huge difference. But I don't think the coffee itself has anything to do with it.
Right.
Just my opinion.
Okay.
Well, maybe she's trying to show her emotion, though.
Right.
Maybe it's not about the visual, but about the emotion that she's projecting on.
Oh, my God, shoot me look kind of thing.
Right. He said, "Where's my coffee? I need it to see this day going. And after, yay! This is gonna be could be pouring down rain. Oh, what a beautiful day outside."
Of course, it doesn't help that I don't drink coffee.
Oh, jeez. Why were we even paying you any attention then?
No, I'm just saying. Now, you want to talk about Moxie or Coca-Cola, then I'm in.
That's another story.
I'm not a coffee drinker. I have to have my morning hot tea.
Nothing wrong with that either. What are your thoughts, Mr. Sweeney?
Well, Michael spent a lot of time talking about nothing of importance. So.
What do you mean? Me? I haven't said a word.
No, it's Joey.
Joey.
Joey. There he is. I like it. And in spite of Joey's rant about every makeup artist, product shop, blah, 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 it's what Deborah said. It's the emotion. It's the fact that there's a story there that everybody can relate to. There's very few people that actually like getting up in the morning and can function straight away without some type of aid. Whether it be hot tea, hot cocoa, hot coffee, iced coffee, something. And that commonality for the viewing audience is what makes this picture work. Because people aren't going to care that the first shot's a little out of focus. They don't care about the lighting. Nope. They'll read that sentence before, they go, yep, I can relate. Yep. They'll read the sentence after, yep, I can relate, and you got a winning shot. And ultimately, that's all that counts.
But it's too cliche, Sweeney.
You know what?
He does care.
To the masses.
Who cares?
Yeah, he does make a good point, but dadgummit, all of the successful marketing.
If you put up a perfectly lit shot in a gallery, and you put up this shot in a gallery, and you say, which one would you buy to hang on your wall? It's going to be this one.
Mm-hmm. See.
So you can be the perfectionist and starve, or you can follow the 80-20 rule and sell your product to 80% of the people out there.
Let me guess which
I'm a starving artist.
Let me guess what percent you call in, Kelly.
Next week, Hangout will be done from a cardboard box because no one's buying any of my photos.
Nice.
I've done it for my car. Join the club.
well, with that said, we're going to give our congrats to Annette Holland. Holy cow, dude.
You all right?
Okay.
I unmuted. I thought I turned my camera off instead of my microphone.
I'm glad we didn't see it either. Thanks.
Yeah, there's a
Thank you. Jeez. My gosh. But no, Annette Holland, for real, that was a great shot, and congratulations to you. You are now tasked with giving us a new challenge for the week, and yes, you come up with it. Because I tell you, these things are getting more and more difficult to come up with over the last couple of years. But
bonus points if you send it to Ant in an image done in a Star Trek font.
Yeah, right. But no, I look forward to hearing from you on that. If you can't publish it yourself, just send the details to me, and I'll do it on your behalf. Please and thank you. All right.
Don't forget, no Helvetica and no two spaces at the end of the word.
Oh gosh, man.
I'll send it into San Francisco.
How many editors have slapped me for that one? Good gosh. Jeez. Dude, how long have you been writing? Stop putting that on the end. God, yeah. You struck a nerve there, Sweeney. Struck a nerve.
Feel the pain there, huh?
All right. Before we get out of here, is there anything that you guys wanted to touch on?
Well, real quick, based upon a conversation you and I had, and actually off air, there was a considerable amount of commentary that we couldn't get the photos to edit and or upload the way that we all kind of wanted them to. This has been a recurring glitch with the Google Plus photo posting, and unfortunately here in the community there isn't anything we can do about it, and it kind of bites us. The workflow that both Ant and I have been using is basically to do as much of the post processing as possible on a phone, if you wish to, and then export it in such a manner that it ends up on your PC and doing the upload through the PC or Mac, as the case may be. One of the things that I wanted to share was that all of my photos were done for this challenge using the GIMP, which is a free open source photo editor, and the GIMP is designed to be a clone of Photoshop, and it is very powerful, very free, and I feel very easy to use. It's
one problem. There's one problem with it right now,
which is
if you're on El Capitan, it does not run.
So for those of you that are on a good operating system, anyway,
well, that's all right, Michael. It doesn't do asset management either, so it's a non-starter in my world.
Right.
Depends on what you're going to do with it. Let me show you what I'm looking at here. This is my entire screen share. And this is the GIMP with its background image. And real quick, what I wanted to show you was a rough and dirty edit of two photos being put together. And the way I do it, and everyone has a different method of doing it, is to grab a pair of photos. Where are my good ones? Hang on. The good ones are always hiding.
Yeah, make sure you grab that directory that's not hidden.
Yeah, and make sure I definitely grab all the images that are crappy looking and try to use those. But let's see. If I grab, say, for instance, I don't know what this even is. I don't know what that is. I really don't know what that picture is. All right. This is the downside of doing this live without planning ahead. All right. So say, for instance, I open up this image in the GIMP, and I want to layer it with another image to put another image on top or the bottom of it. Mm-hmm. I can do that in multiple ways, but the easiest way that I know of is to take not the image, but the layer, because each image, when you import it into the GIMP or open it in the GIMP, creates a layer out of that image. And you take the layer and you scale it. And for the purposes of putting two photos in one image, I just simply take it and put it on percentage and drop it to 50%. Hit scale, and now the image is, or that layer is shrunk in both directions, 50%. Then I'd come over here, grab my move tool, drag the image up to a corner, could be a side, could be anything I want, and then come back up here to File, open as layers, go back in, grab my other photo that I'm going to add. Again, I'm just grabbing a couple of random photos. They don't necessarily go with each other.
Yeah, that's fine. You just click one of them for time's sake. Exactly.
I'm trying to find something that I don't mind admitting to having taken. Let's see. Hopefully this is going to be what I think it is. Yep. So here's the other photo. Now this is obviously a horizontal and the other is a vertical, but it doesn't really matter. I come in to the layer and I scale the layer to, again, 50%. Now if these are both horizontal or both vertical, when I do that, I can place them side by side.
Yeah.
I can use one to crop. I can place them on a diagonal. I can stack them. I can do just about anything I want. In this particular case, what I'm going to do is put this one up in the corner, come back over here to this one, grab my move tool, switch layers, grab this and slide this to the left, and essentially use the image on the right to crop the one on the left.
Yeah.
And slide that up, make it a little more visually interesting. There we go. Now I'm going to grab my select tool, and I'm going to highlight the entire image of what I want.
All right.
Then come up to image and come down to crop to selection. Now I've got one image that has been combined out of two layers of two separate images. And if I save this and export it as a JPEG, a TIFF, or any other file, I now have an image that I can print, share on Facebook, Google+, whatever, and there we are. Now, the only thing that I did differently on the photos that I posted in the challenge was that I came over here, grabbed my tool for writing captions, and I would write something like before and after.
And the key thing that people have to understand with this, yes, this is free software, but this is something you're definitely going to have to spend time with and practice with.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many different menus and so many different ways to do things in there. Don't expect to jump into GIMP and be able to have the stuff ready for the challenge. It's probably not going to happen if you got much of a life. You know what I mean? It's going to take some time.
Correct. I mean, I have spent literally hours, months, days, years, who knows, of time messing with the GIMP. The nice thing is that if you find a basic Photoshop tutorial or you are familiar with other editors, you'll find that the GIMP works very well for you.
Yeah.
Because it's similar to all of the above. Not exactly the same, but close.
Yeah.
I still love Pixelmator.
Yeah, I still hear a lot of good talk about Pixelmator on the iOS platform.
Well, also Mac.
Sure.
It started off as a Mac program that got converted to iOS.
Very nice. All right. Well, we're going to get out of here, folks. I'm going to allow everyone to sign off and let us know where we can find any of the stuff that they're working on or plug anything that they'd like to plug. Let's start with our lovely lady, Miss Deborah, we're so glad to see you this evening.
I don't really have anything to plug. I'm so busy. I haven't been working on anything. Sorry.
It's all good. It's still great to see you as always.
Yeah, it was good to join today.
And next up, Joey Kelley.
Hi. You can find me at Joey Kelley, Joey Kelley, KELLEY.com, and from there you can be linked around to all of my various pages, Google+, Facebook, Twitter, yada, 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 and my photo website and all the other different things. As usual, don't say this enough, but I want to thank everyone in the community, particularly Ant, for letting me back in after I begged. And whatnot, because it's not apparent, but for a long while I was burnt out on photography earlier this year, and it's stuff like this that's gotten me back into it again, and I appreciate that, and I also appreciate Mr. Sweeney's point from a few weeks back when he said, any photos you take is practice. It doesn't matter what you're using to take them, you can apply that practice to other devices and other styles of photography. And that's well taken, because I've noticed that my photos on my SLR have taken a little bit of a kick in the quality department since I've been thinking more about framing and whatnot with the smartphone. So,
that's true. So true. Thank you, bro. Next up, down in Tejas, Mr. Michael King. Where do we find you and your work?
Well, no matter what, things around here can always be worse, because this was 3 years ago. But I can be found at Michael King 4023 on anything out there, where it be Twitter, Flickr, or whatever. Google Plus, Google Photos, whatever.
What is your handle on Flickr?
Michael King 4023.
It's 4023 there too. I haven't been able to find you, but I'll keep trying again.
I'll look. What I'll do, How do you go by? Just
Actually, send me the URL to your public Flickr page, please, so I can have it.
I'll do that right. Right
Thank
now.
you, sir.
Go to it.
Appreciate you joining as always. And lastly, my man out in California, Mr. YB Normal Dadgummit Mike Sweeney. Where do we find you and your work, my man?
You can find me on my normal website, msmedia.me. You can find me on Flickr under YB Normal, and that's spelled WYYB Normal. Sound it out. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
And you can also find me in a variety of other places, the Twitterverse, Light and Images. I also run a second feed called Silicon Film, and we're slowly migrating everything over to that.
Nice.
So, but my home base is my blog, so just kind of hang around there, and you'll see things pop up. I got my Instagram feed there. So you can check out things there.
Very nice. Appreciate you joining as always, my man.
Good to be here.
All right. Lastly, myself, I am at Pruitt. Find me here on the wonderful world of Google+. I'm actually more active here than those other social networks, but I do enjoy Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at ant_Pruitt. My website, antpruitt.com, and the YouTube channel, which will have reruns of this particular hangout, just youtube.com/antpruitt. And I still do my little writing, so check that out at a new domain, Tech Republic, wherever else that stuff pops up. But if you just go to my social media, you're going to see all of that stuff anyway. If you're interested in joining the smartphone photographers community, just hit me up or any of these guys up here on Google+, and we'll get you squared away with an invitation to get in, and we'll do a little semi-background check to make sure you'll fit in and not necessarily be a little spammer, because we have had people that just jumped in and all they do is take shots of selfies, and there was really nothing to it. Nobody else got anything from it other than you are a prolific selfie taker, We want a little more than that, We want to get some texture and stuff like that, as Mr. Deborah would say, But yeah, check out the website, smartphone-photographers.com, where all of these are also stored as reruns, and other little blog posts and things are there too, just for your day-to-day musing. And I think that's about it. Check us out next Thursday at about 9 p.m. Eastern time. We do this every Thursday, ideally, unless there's something going on with travel or work, things like that. But 9 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays. 9 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays. And we thank you folks for watching. Thank you folks for sharing. Be sure to hit the like button and the subscribe button on the YouTube page. And we'll catch y'all on the next time. Peace.